in my thoughts, this is not how we were taught to fall in love. Oh, in love, in love. Come outside with me, let's get some privacy, losing control. Oh, I'm losing, feeling kind of reckless, and I don't wanna mess this up. Won't mess it up. I just want your body, I just want your mind expressed to me. I wanna make you happy. I just want your body, I just want your mind explain to me. Hold me, and oh, baby, I've been thinking about you nearly every night this week. And oh, if you like that, I can be a freak for you, for you.
Hey. Una nena como tú, así quería yo, que comiera bien, huevo, todo recomendó. Se va a poner contento cuando le enseñé la foto. Me dice, me grito loco, pero eres un modo. Y que tú te vas a casa, se ve que re buena raza. Quiero llevarte a casa, si de lo guay de la pasa. Y parando toda la noche, pero ten cuidado si me tranca. Tú y yo no fuimos neta vuelta, creo que has vuelto loca, chica, venga, que me...
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Fanny Snake, certified money coach in the house, and it's lunchtime live. And I am absolutely delighted to be here today with Anca Petkubadi. It's so lovely to have you here, Anca. I'm going to introduce you in a minute, but just to set the scene for this, for our session today. For those of you I haven't had the opportunity to meet, I am Fanny Snake. I'm a certified money coach, and I've been a money coach now for 6 years. And I help people to think about and manage their money much better. There are so many people out there that feel awkward or stressed, or money is just the elephant in the room. And the idea of these sessions is to open the door to conversation about money, because I genuinely believe that if we can talk about it much more easily, much more comfortably, and much more enjoyably, then we'll get much better results from it. Because after all, as Ayn Rand said, it's simply a tool. Money is simply a tool, and it will take us wherever we wish to go, but it will not replace us as the driver. So key is, recognize it as a tool, and let's learn how to drive it. Let's learn how to use it really, really well. So that's what these sessions are for. So I'd like to welcome you and just say hello. The comments boxes are open. If you want to post any questions or any comments, you're more than welcome. But without further ado, let me introduce you to Anca. Hello, Anca.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Fanny. Good to see you.
Are you okay? You good?
I'm brilliant. It's so exciting to be interviewed by my money coach, by my amazing money coach.
Oh.
And if you ever think of having a money coach, definitely should be the one. Fanny should be the one, because of her ease of dealing with the money. She's not necessarily looking at money just from a very systematic point of view, but more from an emotional point of view. And as she said, money are just a tool, and we can do whatever we want. It's exactly how you would use I don't know, what do we use daily? Do we use spanners daily? We don't use spanners daily. Okay, just a tool.
Well, there's a really good thing that people say about this, actually, which we could use here, Anca. It could be quite good, is that people say, so let's say, for instance, you have that beautiful picture behind your head, okay, of your lovely family. And the result you wanted was to have a lovely picture of your family behind your head. But in order to do that, you needed a hammer and you needed a nail, right? Those were the tools that you used to get this beautiful result, right? So the equivalent is that money is the hammer or the nail, right?
Or as you put in the description of our meeting today, I came to UK with 40 pounds in my pocket.
Right, well, let's start from the beginning, shall we?
And I had my family, not my current husband at at that time, but I had the children and 40 pounds in my pocket. And the easiest way to show you that money are a tool and we can do whatever we want to money is probably this way. Money can't scrunch us up, but we can do whatever we want with these things whenever we want.
That's it. So let's talk about your story, because your story is amazing, right? And one of the things, so we met, when did we first meet?
I think 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. Was it a Robin, was it a Stroudnet or something like that? Was it a Robin Waits do? I don't know where it was.
I think I've discovered you online when you had your very first group.
Yeah, maybe. But you joined, so you joined my Loving Me, Loving My Money program last
from
year.
Your other program and from your other group.
From the other group, that's right. And you came on that, and we have sessions. It's a small group program, and we have sessions where we go through, where we sit, and we all sit on Zoom and we all talk about our money stories, right?
Yes.
And we had such a lovely time talking about money stories with the other ladies, the other people on the group, and they were all ladies this particular time. And I remember you saying to me that after listening to a lot of the other money stories that you felt a bit awkward saying those, even a little bit guilty. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But let's go back to, first of all, you arrived in the UK 12 years ago.
Yes.
With 40 quid in your pocket.
Yes.
And 12 years later, where are you now?
So I arrived in UK with 40 pounds in my pocket. Very soon I have discovered that although my day-to-day English was good, my osteopath, my previous qualification, was pretty much non-existent. So the children were very small at that time. The youngest one was only 6 months. The other one was about 2 years, and my daughter was 6 years. So childcare was really, really hard, and there was barely any chance for me to get childcare. And after losing my job as a food runner in one of the Bristol pubs, I had amazing friends who said, we'll help you somehow if you can find something flexible. And someone introduced me to cleaning, which worked very well. And because I'm the most forgetful parent or forgetful person you could ever met, I just couldn't afford to have toxic stuff around the children. So I went for the eco stuff, and then ultimately learned the benefits. And I have really high standards of work. I either work and do it really well, I either don't. That's it. And because of this, my tiny eco cleaning service became successful really, really quick. By that time, I didn't really know what it meant to what self-love meant or how to care for myself. And even if I wanted to, I was at that time in an abusive relation with the children's father, and I had 3 small children. However much you try to put yourself first or care for yourself, doesn't really work. And I was, very soon after this, I actually collapsed in the bathroom. And I became homeless. And in the same time, I received the unpleasant news that I've got cervical cancer. So all this had happened. So I was actually quite lucky when I had 40 pounds in my pocket, because at this time debt was keep growing. And
always nice to have a reframe.
I didn't have the roof on top of my head.
And were you with the kids as well when you were homeless?
Yes. So
wow.
We've been evicted. I packed a duvet and 2 pillows and the kids' few things, and went to the council offices and said, look, we are being evicted today. You've got to help us somehow. The lady there was like, no, you're not being evicted. I had a letter in my hand, and even if my osteopath English was bad, the letter clearly said that I'm being evicted.
really am.
And I said, I'm really sorry, madam, but I haven't really got where to go. So it's up to you if you want to close the office with me sorted somewhere, or you want to close the office with me and my children inside. Apart from this, all what I have, it's a tiny car, which is kind of full of duvets and pillows and a few belongings. So this was 7 years ago. 7 years ago was even worse than when I actually came to UK.
Yeah.
And I was so desperate to put a roof over my children's head, over our heads, that it turns out that now, these days, 2 days, my desperation became someone's motivation. So from 7 years ago, being homeless, that was keep growing. Cancer treatment had to happen and I couldn't work. Being self-employed was like not really much of a backup, to be honest. No support from family back in Romania. And today I have transformed my tiny eco cleaning business from zero, from scratch, into a thriving 6-figures business. I invest in properties. I like to make my money make me money. And I had an incredible joy very recently. I had the opportunity to, with one of our properties, to rent it, to offer it to a single mother with 2 children. And I even said it, I don't even care if this woman is actually going to pay me rent. If I get this massive opportunity just because I didn't give up, and through my desperation I pushed through, and I have tried my best to provide for my family, and this actually flourished and expanded so that I get to do these things these days, I don't really care. Just because I have been able to put a roof over someone else's head, over another family, and support a young mother who I was like that not too long ago, to move into a decent accommodation. This is like, money are just nothing.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. That's such a brilliant story, isn't it, though? I mean, I know from when I first met you that you were a very determined woman, right? Nobody's going to sit on Anca, right? No, moss is never going to grow on Anca. Have you heard that saying before? Moss doesn't grow on somebody who just keeps moving forward. So so let me think about this then, because I think when we first met as well, when you were coming on the course, I asked you about your money management, right? And you said, yeah, I'm really, really good at managing my money management. And then I introduced you to my money mapping system, and you really loved it, didn't you?
Yes, I think your money map is the best tool that exists out there. And I'm a person who manages money well. I'm a person who made her money grow. But regardless, you still need Fanny money map.
It's all right. It's okay.
I'm serious. I'm serious. We use it for ourselves. We use it for the businesses. We use it for every single thing. And the kids are well trained on your money map.
Yes, I love that.
Today they were like, oh, who's the interview? Oh, it's Fanny's name. Oh, it's Fanny's name. The money map lady.
The money map lady. I love that. Maybe I call myself Fanny Safe, the money map lady. So let's go back. Let's go back to your beginnings and the beginning of your money. When you came over with that 40 quid, how precious was that 40 quid to you back then? And how did you spend it? What did you do with it?
Okay. 20 of them had been somehow forcefully and abusively taken from me.
Okay.
Because the people I was staying with, they said, oh, Christmas is coming and you have to give money for this and that. Although I said, look, at the moment I'm working for £3 an hour. I can't really afford to have nice meal for Christmas. I'll just stick with the basics. Oh, no, you have to. So 20 quid were like, bye. And the other 20 quid I used to pay a week rent. Together, I've put a little bit of, I think my first income after a whole month of working, December 2009, working on £3 an hour. I think it was £90. So the £90 with the £20, I used them to pay for a room in a house for a week.
Right. Wow. That, I mean, for most people probably watching this, that's quite a difficult thing to comprehend, really.
I'm looking at it myself and I'm like, really? Have I really been through this?
I mean, it's interesting because I do a lot of work with unemployed people who haven't got an income at the moment, and people who have, it's like life isn't easy for them. But we don't talk about that much detail. It's like, I'm sort of there to try and help them through it and that. But I think just listening to those kind of stories, it's really important for us to know that we've all come from somewhere. And, indeed, in my story, there was one point where we lost all of our money and we literally didn't have any money left. So I know that, but I never really had that feeling of looking in a wallet or a purse and going, that's it. I don't think I've ever had that. Which is quite an interesting thing. So that was your 40 quid. So let's go back to Romania when you were a child. What did your parents teach you about money?
I had very, very mixed messages from my family. I have spent a lot of time with my mom's parents, with my grandparents, and I had a really, really wealthy childhood. I had a driver taking me to school. When the first computer came to Romania, the computer was in my house. My dad was a director of a computer factory in Romania, and we lived in the capital. So whatever new thing came to Romania, it was in my house first. Okay. And although I had all the material I wanted, I didn't really have much of an emotional need met. This was mainly met by my grandma, Lina. So my childhood was incredibly wealthy. Just do this with my fingers and whatever I wanted, it could happen. I remember one winter when winters used to be really bad in Romania, like minus 20 degrees and so on. And we used to stock up like a big bag of potatoes and things like this. And mom sent me and dad to the market to buy a big bag of potatoes. And we went home with roller skates because I wanted roller skates.
Right.
So it literally was like, we've traveled extensively through Romania at that time because of the communism. We were not allowed out of the country, but somehow we managed to go out of the country as well. We went to Hungary, to Budapest. And my parents had jobs, my parents had shops, my parents had a lot of inheritance as well. So on top of the fact that they were doing really well with money themselves anyway, they've always worked really hard. So one of the messages was, if you want money, you have to work hard. Another message was like, money come to you very easily because of all the inheritance. So it's like, where exactly do I stand here? And they had shops, and I remember begging my mom to let me work in the shop, and she said, of course, no problem. If you do the maths, at that time there were, we didn't really use calculators or cash machines or anything. It was like everything was cash and you had to use your mind to do it. If you work out the sums for these customers before me, I will let you do it. So I now have an excellent mental maths, and because of that. But she never let me work in the shop because I was the director's daughter. So there was no way the director's daughter could work in the shop. And this led to me running away from home at the age of 14 because I wanted to be independent. I wanted to have my own money and so on. I went to grandma's countryside house and I said, look, I'm fed up of your daughter and your son-in-law. I'm running away from home. My grandma, bless her, she was like, oh, you can't do that. Where will you go? This and that and the other. I was like, don't you worry, everything it will be sorted. And I already had a plan, to be honest, because I had an older school colleague who was living in her own apartment. So I went there, found myself a job in a bakery at the age of 14. Of course, they took me on immediately because my mental maths was like bang, bang. Even now, it's like completely crazy. I can do maths faster than people can do it on a calculator. I had that much practice having to watch my mother.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting because I think, again, people go, oh, no, well, I'm not very good at doing mental maths. Mental maths is a skill that we learn. And my husband, Neil, he's good at mental maths. And you know how he learned mental maths? Playing darts. And this is it. It's like we sort of go, oh, I'm not very good at maths, so I'm not very good at this, I'm not very good. You can just pick things up easily. I used to practice with the girls just throwing dice, add the 2 dice up, then make it 3 dice, then make it 4 dice, and just make it, it's like we think that these things can be so complicated, but actually if we're in a situation, it's just so easy to take these things on board.
It goes back to where there is a will, there is a way.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm a proven example, or however you would call it, that where there is a will, there is a way. Many of the things that happen here in the UK for me are simply from my desperation, but and many of the things I've chosen to do back in Romania, they were from my will. And the fact that I came onto your money course, I could have easily said, oh, I'm good with money, I don't need to hear from that, I don't need the money course. But if you want to do something, it's good to broaden your horizons. It's good to educate yourself in ways that work for you.
It's really interesting because I think, obviously I talk to lots and lots of people and find out their stories, etc. And a lot of people are aware of my story as well. When we lost all our money, and me saying that I was going to become a millionaire. But I'm wondering, it's for us that have had these dramatic twists and turns in our lives, which I think encourage us to go, God damn it, I'm going to survive, and I'm going to do more than survive. I'm going to thrive, and I'm going to win, and I'm going to do that. I think it's also important to notice as well that you don't have to have an emotional, financial, family roller coaster in order to throw us into these particular things. And as we learned on the money course, there are people with all different money stories, and some that are just, well, this happened, but it's just what's important to you. And we all have emotions about things. But you do tend to find, don't you? Like, for instance, you listen to people like Tony Robbins and Oprah, and they've all gone, I've come from here, and I've gone here, I've come from there, and I've gone there, and all that kind of stuff. So I think sometimes we really are blessed, aren't we, that when these things happen to us. So you ran away, you worked in the bakery. What happened to school then? Did you go to school?
I chose to go to evening school. So I had jobs. At that time, I've actually learned to manage the money. I didn't learn in my family, just a tiny bit from my grandma, but my grandma was it was a generation that were holding on to the money really, really strongly. I'm like, I don't even advise people to save these days. I advise people to do something with their money, because saving them is not going to help them much.
Okay.
So yeah, ran away from home and worked and went to evening school. Carry on my studies. Yes, I have IB, International Baccalaureate. And when I came, probably A levels.
Okay, cool.
And when I came to the UK, I went through college. I had a very interesting pattern. I pushed and tried my best to go to college, went for a year, gained another level of English and maths, Didn't go for another 2 years because it was really difficult with children. Go back again. Another 2 years break. Go back again. It doesn't matter how you do it. It matters that you do it. I failed GCSE. I actually have A levels in maths from Romania, but this was 20 years ago. And I'm somehow playing with the idea that I'd like to go to university. I really like economics and business. I'm not sure if I'll study business, if I'll actually end up teaching them or learning from them. Because if there's a teacher that doesn't have practical life experience, it will be like,
Well, no, I mean, you know, this is the thing. I haven't got a maths GCSE.
Does it matter?
Well, no, but some people really care about those things. I didn't go to university either. I went to drama school.
Oh, that's why we are having live videos.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. So, all right. So thinking about your money so far. What are you doing to teach your children? Obviously, you're showing them the money map. What's the message that you're giving your children now?
So I'm hoping that my message is slightly more balanced than I had, because I had extremes. You either work until you faint for money and you'll have the money. You either just wait and they fall off God knows what inheritance. I'm not aware of any inheritance coming my way because I'm the black sheep in the family, as you can imagine. I dare to run away from home. And I don't know what my parents wanted me to be, an engineer, doctor, something like this. And I think
you are an engineer of sorts, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm learning to engineer myself every day.
Yeah.
So my children, for example, they have jobs. They have paper jobs. And my daughter is now nearly 18, Sonia.
Yeah.
And she is, since a couple of years ago, she has kept save money and put them in saving accounts where she got a bit more money for them. And she's got an ISA because she's very keen to buy her first property when she's 18.
Okay.
Main reason I think is just because she wants to run away from me, a communist mother. This is how they call me because I'm very strict. Apparently, other mothers, they just let their children go in and out and play as much as they want on electronics or whatever. While with me is like, sorry, not working like this in this house. So I really hope I'm sending the right message. I do get them involved in anything in regards to money. They go shopping with real money. We barely have any cash ourselves, but I purposely count money every single day. This is one tip if anyone wants to use it. So I have a sum that I would like to make net a day, and I have that in cash and I count it. I think it's very important to have a real feel about the money rather than the plastic card, which you don't have a clue where on earth your money are flying from.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I've spoken to people before and on this session as well, where they said always keep your day rate in your pocket. So always keep, how much you want to earn that day in cash. I think that's a really good idea.
And if you count them, I think it's more important because you do something. Keeping it in your purse and not being aware of it, it kind of goes out of your mind a little bit. We are that keen on it that we actually, so we look at the money for a couple of minutes in the morning, how much it has to be today, how much we want today, how much we desire today. And at the end of the day, we draw a line and we look where are we at.
And what happens if the money doesn't come in all of it?
It's absolutely fine.
Okay.
It's
Because
absolutely fine.
See, we're now moving into the realms of the law of attraction, right? Which you and I love. And actually, I was just doing a couple of posts this morning, and it's like, I wish we could just get rid of this label, the law of attraction, and just realize that it's about living our lives with intention and with purpose, and always trying to find the best moment of any situation that we're in, and actually realizing that the moment that is now, do not spend too much time in the past and do not spend too much time in the future. Just assume that everything is happening to you for a reason. You're in exactly the place that you're supposed to be in right now, and that everything that's happening to you right now is here. And I do see that so many people live too far in the future or too far in the past. But it's interesting, and I would love to hear your take on this. So you've got this cache of the money that you want to make, and you've looked at it in the morning and you're counting it at night and nothing's come in. How do you help people to wake up tomorrow and start all over again and let that go, like you and I can do? We can just let it go and move forward with that.
So you mean how?
So no money's come in. You've come in today. Yeah, nothing's come in today.
That I'm aware of.
No, but I'm just saying, you get to nighttime and you look at the money and nothing's come in today.
Right. My life is slightly different now, and everything is coming today from at least, I don't know how many directions. But I'm going to give you an example of something that I've done in the past. I had to pay the rent in 2 days, and I was so desperate for another £200. I'm incredibly bad with technology. As you know, we had to practice for this yesterday, so you make sure you actually have me here. And it's fine. I embrace this part of myself as well. So I've created some leaflets on A4, and I went into, at that time, my local area, and I knocked on people's doors and I said, we are coming to you this week for window cleaning. Would you like some window cleaning? In 2 days, when my rent came to be paid, my rent was paid in full.
Yeah. And this is it, right?
I mean, I'm extremely anxious because I'm actually an introvert. But because I was the director daughter, and I always had to be put forward, like this picture, oh, the director daughter. When I was at the countryside, oh, the girl from the capital, city girl, how you would say it here. I always had to be at the front. I was never allowed to be an introvert. This is why lockdown actually worked really well for me. And I've discovered so much of myself through these lockdowns that we had. The only way to cope with my anxiety is to take action. The only way I know.
I'd like to dig into that a little bit. So hang on a minute. You just said the only way to deal with my anxiety is to take action. How about if I was to frame it like this? The anxiety is your inner voice telling you to take action. It's not anxiety at all. Do you see what I mean?
Probably my husband would confirm a bit more of that, but because he's the one who has to keep me up many times.
Yeah, but you know, like when we get these emotions and when we get these feelings inside, that's our inner voice describing a mismatch, right? There's a mismatch somewhere. You've got this fear or anxiety or whatever emotion it is. That's what our emotions are. It's the mismatch with who we are and how we're feeling and all that kind of stuff. It's what's being expressed that way. So that's what I just like to put to you, to go, that anxiety has been sent to you on purpose because it wants you to take some action. If you didn't have the anxiety, what would have happened? You might not have had your rent paid, right?
Yeah, probably.
So you need the anxiety. Boom! It's there for a reason.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, isn't it? And it's like when you're lying in bed in the morning and maybe the alarm's gone off and you've pressed the snooze button and you're lying there and you're listening to crappy radio or whatever, the horrible news giving you the negative moments of the day. And then as the time passes, you start feeling this little, I should get, I really ought to get up. And we then transpose that into guilt. But don't put it into guilt. Use that to go, there's so much more to do. There's so much more to have today in our lives. Let's just get up and do it rather than doing that. You know?
Yeah. So to answer to your question, I suppose if someone would say to me, look, I have nothing coming. What you're talking here is nonsense. And yeah, okay, you've been homeless or whatever, but now you don't have a clue what that means. I would say, what can you do today to change that? Maybe just have a temporary something. We currently have a side hustle. We currently have a temporary
Oops. Okay, let's see what happens. We seem to have got a bit of a freeze on. Anca will be back with us in a minute, hopefully. Should be there. If not, she'll come out and she'll come back in again, and we'll see what happens. But she's such an inspiring lady. I still need to ask her about the money tree and what the money tree is. And I wonder what's happened. Let's see if I wait for a minute and see how she's doing. She's come back on. It looks like she's coming back on. Are you there, Anca? There you are. You're here. You're here. We missed you. You went away.
Sorry, I don't know what happened.
But you're right. And what you're talking about is that whatever situation we're in, if we approach this, if we see our situation as negative, and we just sit in that negative and maybe go to victim mode or whatever, you're not going to get anywhere from there. And so did you know that fear and excitement are actually physically the same emotion?
No, I didn't.
It's the same physical stuff that's going on within you with fear and excitement. It's the same. It's the
Probably
same.
that's why I was terrified and excited to be here today.
Exactly. But we can all. So what your message is really then is that we can all do something to change our situation, however small it is, even if it's just one little bit.
If I can do it as a non-native English speaker,
yeah,
in an English-speaking country with 3 tiny children in my arms, starting from nowhere, I have chosen to be the first living wage employer in Bristol in the cleaning industry. And fantastic. I have so many people looking me down even these days. Oh, your prices are too high. I don't know about this living wage thing. Well, I don't want anyone to go into my situation of being homeless and not being able to provide for their family. So if I can do it with, I'm not the best with technology. My accent is whatever. I speak English the other way around. I kind of speak a Romanian English if you want, or English Romanian. It's up to you. Call it what you want. If I'm a tiny person as well, and I'm overweight as well, it doesn't matter. If I can do it, you definitely can do it.
Yeah, I love that. Tell me about the money tree.
Money tree. Why money tree? Well, in Romania, they say, yeah, sure, you think money grows on trees. Okay, no problem. I moved to England. In England, they say, yeah, sure, you think money grows on trees. Okay, no problem. I'm married to an Indian man, a Punjabi man. In their culture, they say, oh, yeah, sure, you think money grows on trees. I'm like, this isn't okay. I'm going to grow my own money tree. We have the potential. We have the capacity. We have all we need to grow a money tree. So where it starts from the roots, from your background, from my background, from the mistakes you've seen, from the wins you've seen. So the roots are the beliefs we've learned, and they are good. The beliefs we've learned, and they are not good. But they are important, because without the bad or without the good, we would have not known how to create our journey, the trunk of the tree. And then your journey is the trunk of the tree, where you go through all sorts of things. Maybe teenager, you get a job and you learn that splashing your wages the next day you get them is not necessarily the most helpful. Then you probably become a student and you're an adult and you have a job, and rent is coming in because you thought you want to be independent. So we've learned so much, and then it comes a point where our branches start to grow as a tree. So when the branches start to grow, we it's wonderful if we get educated and learn a bit more and learn how to grow our own money tree through savings, investing, make those money make us money, because as I said at the beginning, they are just simple tools. The money are not going to scrunch us up. We can scrunch the money anytime. So this is what I'm doing. I'm on my way to financial freedom by growing my own money tree, by educating myself, growing my branches, and every day I want something to come in my bank account, another flower to flourish, another leaf to open in my money tree through all sorts of income, passive income, by writing a book, by creating a tiny book. I think that's the easiest passive income you can create, by investing in a property or stocks and shares or whatever works for you. So
Yeah, absolutely. But
I want to somehow prove that yes, the money do grow on trees. Your own money tree.
exactly. It's true. It's definitely true. It's definitely true. So your number one financial priority right now?
Financial freedom. I want to spend my time helping women that have been through domestic abuse. I have seen a lot of domestic abuse in my family. Although I had a wealthy childhood, it was not necessarily
I hear you,
an
sister.
example or something like this.
No.
I did not understood emotional abuse as an adult because I've only seen physical abuse. So I went through emotional abuse myself, and I've only discovered when I decided to educate myself and put myself through a course. And when they showed me the book with what the person does and how emotional abuse works, I looked at it and I ticked every single box, and I was like, wow, I thought this was normal. Because when I've separated, my mother asked me, she said, why did you separate? Did he beat you up? I'm like, no, does he have to? So because I haven't been beaten up, everything was perfect.
I think, you know, it's interesting you mentioned that, because I did one of my stints as a volunteer. I worked for the NSPCC, and I delivered workshops in primary schools about abuse, on how to recognize abuse. And it's so good now that they're actually talking to children and actually saying, when people speak to you this way, this is, you know, emotional abuse is just the same. You don't have to be hit or touched or anything like that. You know, the emotional abuse is there. I think that's such an important thing, especially in the days of social media and how, you know, how people generally seem to talk to each other in the public space. It definitely needs looking at. So which year has been the best year of your money life so far?
2021.
2021.
I earned in a month as much as I used to earn in a year, and this is just in the first quarter of the year. We are now in the second quarter, financial quarter of the year, if you want, or not necessarily second financial quarter, because the financial year just started, but second quarter of the year. And I'm like, wow, really? Is this really my life? Is this really that just carry on with the cycle? And it is just carry on with the cycle. It's like,
how important, and this is for everybody else, right? Because you know how I feel about this, and I want to hear you say it to everybody. How important is it to feel like a money magnet?
I think it's far more important to actually allow yourself to understand that you are a money magnet. So I have lived an incredibly amazing ease and flow since about December. I've slowed down as many other people around Christmas time, and things kept coming to me. So we were, if you remember, we were in one of the money course meetings, and we started talking about the law of attraction. And the next morning I was doing a challenge, a walking challenge, 100K for food banks. I've eaten from food banks many years myself. And I was dreaming to myself while walking, oh, I'd like to have a shop around here for one of the businesses I'm thinking of. And there you go, I passed a shop and it was empty. I called them. The rent was not what I was looking for. I called another one, £14,000 rent a year. I was like, no, thank you. I'm not. Why would I pay £14,000 a year rent when I can actually buy and own the shop? And the best thing with the property is that if you want or if you don't want, your money are growing because the property value is going up. And so the shop happened. Now I'm going to have a shop, and it came to me. I was walking.
Are you gonna let your daughter work in the shop?
She doesn't want to.
Oh,
she can't be bothered with my businesses. She's totally not interested in my businesses. She wants to invest in properties. She's applying for a law university simply because she loves law. She always did from year 3, year 4, I don't know. And this university allows her to do a little bit in London, a little bit in Bristol, a little bit in Spain, a little bit in France. So she's planning to have a gap year, get at least 3 properties herself, so she can have at least her essential met, and then she's off to see the world. She's totally not interested in my businesses.
That might change, that might change.
No problem. I would allow her to work in the shop. I think she's amazing, but you know how it is. If people don't want it, there's no point to bother about it. There's no point not even to try.
No. They have to want to do it. They have to want to do it. So let me ask you another couple of questions before we finished. What would you say was the best purchase that you ever made?
Best purchase that I've ever made. I'm a strange woman who doesn't like to shop. Unless I really have to go shopping.
But you see, this is really interesting because what about, you've got it doesn't have to be the kind of shopping where you're buying things like that, but you've bought properties, you've bought courses, you've bought all sorts of things, right? So it doesn't have to be, I'm not talking about pasta and beans and shoes. I'm talking about when you're really having to think about how you're going to spend some money, what's been the best purchase that you've ever bought?
Well, I go property shopping more often than I go grocery shopping. And I absolutely love it. And the worse they are, the more love I can put into them, the best. So this would be a second tip. If you ever think of going into property, the worse they are, the more stinkier, the roof falling down, that's where your money are.
Yeah, that's what they tell you on the property courses. And somebody invites you in and the place absolutely stinks and they offer you a cup of tea, you go, yes, please.
I'm only saying this from my own experience, nothing else.
Yeah. No, that's great. So, I think that you've got such a great story and such a great outlook, Anca, which is fantastic. And that energy, and it is all about the energy, and it's about being with people who are in this energy, isn't it? Having the right kind of people around.
Stay near Fanny's nave and your money will grow.
Well, likewise, my darling, likewise. It's good. So let me think about. So tell me about Eco Clean Bristol, so that anybody watching can actually find your business and know who you are. Tell us how people can get hold of you, and how people can how can people get a hold of you to either get you to buy property or to get you to go and clean their offices or whatever it is, not you personally, obviously, but the business, or find out more about your shop, where can they find you?
So the easiest is what they can see on the screen, Anca PB. I have a Facebook page. I have a financial well-being for women group, which is called Money Tree. Eco cleaning, just use my best friend Google and you'll find us. We are at the top of the page just because I didn't have a clue what business name to change, so it was Eco Cleaning Bristol. That's it.
Eco Cleaning Bristol. That's easy, isn't it?
It's so good when you don't have such impressive skills, because the basic and the simple ones, they'll always do the job.
Exactly. And actually, Anca, that's probably a really good way to end, because that is what life is all about, isn't it? It's about keeping it simple, keeping it positive, keeping in the now, isn't it?
Enjoy what it is now, even if it's bad. Look at what good is in it and what lesson you get out of it, and don't look at anyone else around you, just at yourself yesterday. And if you can do anything to better yourself, compare with yesterday, that's the best thing. I'm here, I'm talking to Fanny, she's a millionaire, I'm a baby starter in this money thing. I could easily be like, yeah, but look at Fanny, look. No, I just stay around her, learn from her, enjoy her energy. And if I want to go there, if I want to be a millionaire, I'm pretty sure it will happen, because I'm an action taker.
You know it's going to happen. You know.
I'm not sure if I'm interested in being a millionaire. Financial freedom sounds good to me. I think it will happen. I think
the problem that we have now is that when you actually get to when you think about the prices of houses and the prices of everything, it sounds much better than it. It's not as high up now, really. I think it's the people who are multi-millionaires that are really doing it. You've only got to have a few properties and you've already got a net worth of $1 million or so, haven't you? It's not going to take long now. It's not going to take long.
I'm still yet. She talks about net worth, and I've told you, I'm not even going to try to compare. I'm still yet to learn more on this net worth thing.
Right. Well,
I'm going to enjoy the rent that just came in. So don't worry about net worth for now. Just enjoy what you've got now.
Exactly. Anca, it's been an absolute joy to have you on here. I love you to pieces, and I love watching your journey, and I'm going to be keeping an eye on you.
Yeah. Okay. Take me with you wherever people need to see someone that had to jump quite a few hurdles to be here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's us hurdle jumpers that get to the booty at the end of the rainbow, right? So let me close this up now and say thank you very much for watching. We've just had a comment coming in, somebody saying, can you send a link? And it's like I wasn't there before, but that's lovely. There'll be a replay on both LinkedIn and the Facebook group, and it'll be going up on YouTube very soon. The next lunchtime on LinkedIn I have is going to be with Jason Greystone on the 27th of May. So please do come and join us then. And in the meantime, if you're interested in a complete and utter money makeover, the course is launching next Tuesday, the 18th of May, where I'm going to be sharing my tools. It's my COVID give back, and it's a 10-week course for literally just £100. So come and join it if you wish to. And in the meantime, again, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And signing off for now. And thank you, Anca.
Thank you for having me.
Take care.